Excellent. What a fabulous morning and start to our day. And I want to thank the last panel who was just up here. I know, Catherine, that I identify with food very much, so we're going to maybe make ourselves a little more comfortable as we begin to settle in. Now, last year, many of you can remember, we spent a lot of time talking about downtown Portland. And that was very important work, and I want to thank Dan McMillan and Governor Kotek for all the work that they've put in. But now I'm excited to talk about a place a little closer to home, the South Willamette Valley. And when you think about the South Willamette Valley, think maybe the Eugene Springfield metropolitan area up to Corvallis, Albany, Lebanon. Think about that beautiful place that's an hour and a half from the coast, an hour and a half from the mountains, rivers, lakes, great hiking, great food, and beautiful communities. And two incredible research universities. So I'm going to settle in here for a minute with these two leaders. First, I would like to introduce you to President Jayathi Murthy from Oregon State University. If you haven't met Jayathi yet, a brief intro. Jayathi was an economist who was the Dean of Economics at engineer, sorry, I said economist. I got my folks, engineer. She had to correct that quick, thank you. Engineer from, Dean of Engineering from UCLA, and then also ran a proud startup for many years, so a member of that team. Great experiences. And then our economist, from the University of Oregon, Karl Scholz. And Karl came to us, he was the provost at Wisconsin. And then beyond that, earlier than that, he was also an economist at the federal level under two administrations. So while we wake ourselves up just real quick, do we have any beavers in the crowd? Can I get a duck response? All right, I'm glad you're with us. This is fantastic. There are two investments that I'm particularly impressed with at these universities. The first one being the Knight campus at the University of Oregon. The second one being the Huang Innovation Complex at Oregon State University, Collaborative Innovation Complex at Oregon State University. Either one of these could be catalysts for inspiring growth for the future, but the two of them together are particularly impressive. So I'm going to take a breath and move it over to Karl. Now, Karl, I know we talk a lot about just how green the grass is in Eugene, but in your time here in Oregon, tell me a few things that have impressed you about Oregon State.
Oregon State provides just a wonderful education in engineering and STEM, and they have these colleges that are very complementary to what we do at the University of Oregon. So a College of Forestry, a College of Agriculture, a College of Atmospheric and Earth Sciences. And so they do a wonderful job providing an education. And you mentioned innovation, which I think is at the heart of what both universities do. But what's happening at Oregon State is inspiring with the Jensen and Lori Mills Huang Collaborative Innovation Complex. They're right on the leading edge of work in artificial intelligence, machine learning, high-performance computing. And that's great for the region, it's great for the state. And the last thing is our colleagues at Oregon State really recognize that you can be greater by being collaborative than working in isolation. And they're great partners for much of what we're trying to do across the state and the region.
All right, so now we're gonna flip the question, and I know up at Oregon State, anytime I visit, I see the banners. Everybody at Oregon State is damn proud of all the work that's being done at that university. But tell us a few things that have impressed you about the U of O.
You know, the best thing about being damn proud is you can cuss without people calling you out on it, and yeah. But let me tell you what I think about our relationship here, Karl. I really think of us as being yin and yang. And together we complete the circle. And so I'm really appreciative of all the strengths that you bring, all right? Strengths in the liberal arts, strengths in the humanities and policy and economics, business, law. I think you need that to complement our STEM strengths, and I really appreciate that. And of course, Night Campus, I mean, what a resource, right? I am green with envy. I wish I could be orange with envy, but I am green. There's nothing, going into the 21st century, I don't know that you can do anything unless you've got big investments in all things bio, all things biotech, health. You guys bring so much to the table, and I am truly excited by what combining data science, AI, machine learning, bio can really do for us.
Now, I've noticed both of you have mentioned collaboration in your answers, and we know, just based on the sound feedback that we heard from the audience in Oregon and Oregon State shout-outs, that Oregon comes together, right? We collaborate. Jayathi, tell me a little bit about how Oregon State directly collaborates and some of the things that you have participated in with the University of Oregon.
Well, right now there is just so much going on, all right? I mean, with all the CHIPS money and all the federal investments that are coming down, we've been working furiously together. You've heard a little bit just earlier on about our EDA tech hubs, all right? So we've got big proposals in, and we've been named an EDA tech hub in the microfluidic space. There's work going on in mass timber. These are big plays that we're participating in. I mean, $160 million on the research innovation engines that we're putting proposals into, again, with semiconductors and with mass timber. The thing that I really want to say about this is that it's a collaboration between U of O and OSU, of course, but a huge ecosystem of business, of community leaders, the government, the state government, and so on. So we're building big economies, and really the whole idea of the Southern Willamette Valley and trying to build that out, the seeds of that are already in the efforts that we're taking part in together.
Karl, a follow-up from your side on collaboration.
Sure, there's many more examples. We have a joint biotechnology PhD program. Our first graduate from the Knight campus, Kylie Williams, a native Oregonian, wildly talented, has taken a job with Pandaria Technology, a startup that came out of the Knight campus, and implantable medical sensors. We jointly work with the Tallwood Design Institute. This is a collaboration between OSU's Colleges of Engineering, College of Forestry, and the College of Architecture and Applied Arts at Oregon. And this is providing, kind of boosting the mass timber industry, which could be a multi-billion-dollar industry. The finest example is the redesigned, extraordinary Portland Airport. And then Jayathi and I participate almost weekly with the other presidents of the public four-year universities in Oregon. And they are tremendous leaders. Ann Cudd at Portland State, Nagi Nagathan at Oregon Institute of Technology, Kelly Ryan at Eastern Oregon, Rick Bailey at Southern, Jesse Peters at Western. These are great allies in a prosperity initiative, and Jayathi has been a leader among those efforts.
I get so motivated when I get to spend time with you because your universities represent sort of the art of the possible and what's coming in Oregon. As we talk about collaboration between your two universities, you have global ambitions, but you're going to need further partnership. Talk to me a little bit about how that collaboration can expand to include other leaders in the Southern Willamette Valley and what you need to support your visions of the future.
Well, that's a great question, Jordan. Look, we focus on trying to be world-class in what we do. And at our core, we are creating talent. And so we take our students and create almost limitless opportunities for them. We are engines of prosperity. We're engines of economic mobility. We outline our objectives through our strategic plans. Oregon State has a great one. Ours at Oregon is called Oregon Rising, that describes our world-class ambitions. But we cannot do it by ourselves. And so we need to engage in these difficult conversations that have been laid out today about tax policy in the state of Oregon, land use policy in the state of Oregon, the energy grid, what we can do together, going beyond the walls of our universities to achieve this prosperity that we all seek for this extraordinarily beautiful, wonderful state that we're in.
Thank you. Jayathi.
I think it's really important for us to understand how big the opportunity is in front of us, all right? So just like you all kicked off an amazing strategic plan, we did too. And in creating that plan, I came to understand how much there is on the ground, all right? At OSU, research is really taking off. I mean, we clocked in this year at $422 million of research expenditures without a medical school, all right? And this is 15% growth over last year, and last year was 23% growth over the year before. So it's really taking off. And, we need to understand what an opportunity Jensen Huang has given us, not only through his personal generosity, but through connections to NVIDIA. I mean, the biggest AI company in the world, the leader of that company is an alum of OSU. He's an Oregonian, all right? I mean, this is a heck of an opportunity. And if we don't capitalize on the power of AI to drive forestry, ag, fisheries, I mean, everything Oregon, I think we're just sort of throwing this whole thing away. Right? I want to bring us also to realize how much is being done on the front of online learning. I mean, eCampus, our eCampus program has 15,000 students right now. We plan to grow it to 30,000 students by 2030, all right? 30 by 30, that's a huge ambition. What does that bring to the table? Of course, it brings all the pedagogical pieces, but it brings infrastructure, it brings marketing, it brings outreach, it brings the ability for us to reach new kinds of learners, upskilling, reskilling, post-bac degrees, focusing educational programs on the things that we want to build, all right? So that's a heck of an infrastructure to have in our hands. We've kicked off a new entity called Economic Development and Industry Relations. This is a commitment on the part of OSU to actually work deeply and consistently on the question of economic growth. I mean, as a land grant, we're committed to doing it. Right? So this is what our two universities bring to the table. We can't do it alone. We've got to bring business people with us. We've got to bring community colleges with us. We've got to bring the state with us. But if we're able to do it, there's so much on the ground that can really be built.
Thank you. And Jayathi, you have walked, you have walked that entrepreneurial walk, and there's the vision of what's possible and the collaboration, the efforts. But to speed this up, to bring this reality closer to home, give us some steps that you can see in front of us that are more immediate needs to focus on.
I think we're going to have to build some kind of entity to drive this, all right? I mean, Karl, you've spoken about a Southern Willamette Economic Development Authority. I think that's the name you gave it. It's a good name. But it does need us to get real about it. I mean, we can each of us do our own thing, but it does need an entity of some sort to bring this all together, and to consistently over the years push our state to build this region out. There's so much talent there.
Excellent. And Karl?
Jordan, I like that acronym, SWEDA, for the Southern Willamette Valley Economic Development Authority. But it's getting out of our silos. We operate too much, and it's because our jobs are very busy, operate too much just, okay, I'm going to focus on the University of Oregon. And community organizations are going to focus on their particular issues. And state and local governments, theirs. Businesses, theirs. We have to come together. We have to break down those silos for these wicked problems, whether tax policy or land use or energy grid, or embracing that entrepreneurial mindset. I loved what Renee James said. It's a matter of balance, but finding that balance and pushing us forward. So breaking out of those silos is critical. And we need our partners. We need our partners. We need the state. we're academics, right? So you indulge me for a moment. But if you rank states on higher education spending, Oregon ranks number 44 in supporting a public four-year higher education institutions. We have a great set of institutions, but we are starving them, and they can be catalysts for prosperity. But I want to turn this to you, Jordan, because you're spending all morning questioning us. What is the business community doing to join forces and break down these silos?
I will tell you, thank you. I'm very excited with the seeds that you all have planted. The business community is starting to fire around this. We see it with the collaboration that, whether we called it SWEDA and move forward on a collaborative group together, that's starting to form up. OBC's attention in providing some leadership and bringing groups together. And even down in my hometown in Eugene, the Eugene Chamber just announced that they've raised $3.5 million for an independent economic development entity, Elevate 28. A round of applause for them and their effort. And so when you piece together the amazing investments that are happening at these universities, the amazing pieces that are going to come out of these universities, and the communities that are inspired to follow in behind you and lean into the future, I again would look out into this audience to our political friends and say the only next step we need to make is begin to make the plans that help with the regulations and a better tax plan to lead a growth mindset into the future. And then with that, where does that take us for the state overall if these dreams come true?
Look, we can have a vision for an economy dominated by stable, high-wage jobs that provides a tax base that can support great schools, can support great parks and museums, can support arts and culture, the things that make life worth living. And by doing that, then we become a magnet so our children don't have to move to Texas or California or New York seeking the lifestyles they want. And for our students who come from out of state to Oregon and absolutely fall in love with the Pacific Northwest, we'll have the economy to support them. And so it's an economy, it's a state known for innovation, for prosperity, and a favorite word of mine, flourishing.
Let me add to that, all right? All of everything you've said, Karl, but I also want to say how committed our own universities are to access, all right? A quarter of our students are first gen. We serve underserved communities. We serve rural students. And if you open this up, it creates opportunities for all of them, and that's a big part of our mission.
Absolutely. 32% of Oregonians attending the University of Oregon come from low and moderate income families. We are engines of mobility, engines of prosperity.
Well, thank you both. That's what we have. I believe our next step is out to the break. So I want to thank you all for hanging in this morning and being a fabulous audience for all of us. And I believe we'll invite Maria Pope back up to send us on our way.